In this video, we're going to explain syscalls and how to take user input from the standard input. To start off, I'm going to show the variables that I declared. On the left side is simply the label that I'm going to call it, and then .ascz is just creating a string, and the z tells it it's null terminated automatically. These are my values if you would like to read them. And the first syscall we're going to go over is 10, which is to terminate a program. This should be at the end of every program, otherwise the program is going to end simply by falling off, which it's just better practice to terminate your program automatically. Using this, you can also terminate from different locations in your program if you use jumps. So to start off, we are going to print a string describing the program, which is going to be program info. So to start that off, we're going to load immediate, we're going to put it into v0, and we're going to put 4 in there. That's telling it that we were trying to print a string. Now we have to tell it what string to print. That's going to be loading into address because we're loading a variable into a register. We're going to load that into A0, and it's going to be program info. And then we are going to call the syscall. And what this right here will do is it'll just print the string program info, as you can see right here. So we can go ahead and explain this right now, and we can run the program. And we see this is all that prints out, and then the program terminates. Going back to edit, we can now ask for an integer input. To do this, we'll do the same thing as we did before. However, we will load for the string, we will ask for an integer, which will be integer 1, as I declared down here. And we will syscall that, and then we can go to execute that, and when we run, we can see it also asks to enter an integer value right here. Now that we ask for the integer, we need to take it from the user. To do this, we're going to use syscall 5, which will be a load immediate v0 5, and it'll automatically store it in v0. So after a syscall, it'll be stored in v0, which originally had the 5 telling it what to do. After this line, it'll put in v0 the user input. So immediately upon doing that, we will move from v0 and we'll move it into t0. And since we are address referencing a register, we have to put the parentheses to tell it is a memory location. And now we do this and we execute the program. It's asked for an integer value, and as we can see over here, t0 is empty. We will enter an integer value and we will say 30. And as you can see, t0 now has the value 30 in it. If we run this one line at a time, and we run up to this line right here where this line right here, we put the 5 into v0, and then we call the syscall, and it asks for the integer value. It puts 50 into v0, which originally had the 5, and then when we proceed through the program after this line, it'll move it to t0. You can still see it's in v0 until we progress through the function. Now we'll print a string asking for the second integer, which will be the same thing as asking for the first integer. However, we'll tell it to print integer 2, which is the name of this variable. And then we will get that integer, which will be the same thing as getting the first, except instead of t0, we'll do t1. Now we'll multiply the input. This is as simple as just doing multiply, and we will tell it to store it into t3, and we will multiply together t0 and t1. And all we have to do here is just multiply it, and then we will print the string saying what the product is. So to do this, we'll do it in 2 steps. We'll do one step, which is just printing the product, and the next step will be to print the actual integer. So we can't easily put the value into the string we're going to print, so we're just going to print the string and follow it by the integer value. So to begin this, we'll do our typical printing for a string, and instead of integer 2, we'll do product. and we'll syscall that, and then we'll print the integer, which is going to be the same thing, except we're going to do syscall 1, and what we're going to print is going to be what is in T3, parentheses, because we're referencing the address of a register. And then we'll terminate the program. And to see this all run together fluently, we'll run the program. It'll ask us for a first integer value. We'll say 5. Second integer value, we'll do 10. And it prints product 50. And that is the end of this video.